Oh, wow. Hold on. Okay, this guy was talking about vaccines. I was saying that the BC provincial government has already made backroom deals with Bill Gates, right? With the pharmaceutical industry, okay? Because his solution is vaccines. He puts them first, right? And alternative solutions, which there are, but they don't talk about it.
It includes post-secondary education. It includes a whole host of activities that all involve people. And that's been our focus, and will continue to be our focus until we find the relief that Dr. Henry talked about, a vaccine or some other therapies.
Did you hear that? Until we find the relief, a vaccine, or some other therapies.
To help us through this.
Thank you, everyone. That's all the time we have today.
Thanks.
Okay. Just wanted to show you that. And then I went into here. This is scheduled for 4 hours from now. Now, some of these lives, I'm sure, are live, but a lot of them are pre-recorded. I've already proven that, people. Okay? They're doing them back to back, and then they're restreaming them, right, to false pretense, which is a criminal act under the Criminal Code of Canada. Okay? All right? This is a government. They are breaching the public's trust, right? They're committing a form of fraud, right? Because they've got a political agenda that's already in the making with the vaccine that's been bought and paid for, just like with their masks and their gowns and everything else that they've been doing, right? Because they cut a deal with Bill Gates and his associates, all right? So anyway, let's see what happens in 4 hours from now. Okay, so we're going to feature this dude too, right? Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Okay, he does his updates too. We're going to watch his eyes, people. I'm going to turn this on. We're going to listen to what he's got to say.
My family went to a park yesterday, and we noticed people on the tennis court, a public pool being prepared to open, kids training for the baseball season. But the only place that was empty was the jungle gym. I think a lot of families are wondering, when can their kids go back to the playgrounds and actually start enjoying those that equipment? When can those kids get onto a playground again?
Well, I think when we hit stage 3, phase 3 per se, I'm sure after a consultation with our Chief Medical Officer of Health and our Minister of Health and our health
Doctor you-know-who
health team, they'll decide that.
The doctors that have no patience.
That factor right now, I guess they're keeping them closed. But again, even when we make that decision, Colin, it's going to be up to the regions, be it the city or any region. People, don't underestimate the power of local chief medical officers of health under Section 22. So we could say, open up the playgrounds, and they could shut them down in a certain region. And I think that's a good thing that they're able to do that, because every region's different.
Next question.
Next question comes from Randy Rath from Sage TV. Please go ahead.
Hey, Randy.
Hi, Premier. We're seeing evidence of an increasing number of people buying into conspiracy theories about COVID. A Niagara councillor from Port Colborne says that she's seeing employers in her area calling it a pandemic and not taking it seriously and discouraging their employees from wearing PPE. Are you worried about that sort of thing spreading in the province?
Well, I think that'd be irresponsible of any employer. Every employer should have hand sanitizer, have the option of wearing a mask. They should encourage social distancing within the workplace. This isn't over. I can't stress it enough. We're doing great because everyone listened. All 14.5 million people have been fantastic. Everyone's been great. The media's been great. The companies have been great. Have a champion minister of
course the media has been great. The media is in on it, people. He has a sleepy eye. Do you see that? That's a sleepy eye. Look at that eye. He's got eye problems.
Health, great doctors, great health teams, but man, this thing comes back. That's what concerns me. So we have to stay focused, and we can't let our guard down for a heartbeat. We let our guard down, and look what happened to Florida. Look what happened to California and Arizona and Texas. That's what
they always like to draw in on somebody else.
happens when you're reckless, you're careless, and you let your guard down. So when possible, wear a face covering.
Follow up?
Okay, and if we do see a resurgence, numbers spiking up again, is there a plan to shut it back down? Do you have protocols in place and a plan to go back to stage one if that's necessary in some regions?
Well, we're going to have to look at the numbers if that day comes, and let's just pray it doesn't come. But I can tell the people of Ontario, all of us, and I'm including, when I always say the people, it's all of us combined. When I talk about this, are we better off and better prepared than we were? I think 100 days was yesterday, over 100 days ago. We're so much better prepared. We're better prepared on the procurement system with the PPEs. The hospitals are better prepared. Everyone's better prepared because we've lived the experience. And anytime.
And that was the whole point of the exercise, in part of other things. They were redirecting money into the healthcare system, okay, to prop up a political agenda that controls the population in terms of forced vaccines are coming. Sooner or later, you're not going to be able to cross the line unless you've been vaccinated. The only thing is, it won't be just a simple vaccine, people, okay? It's going to be something that they've chipped and that they can track you with. They're already tracking you with, what do you call it? With your cell phones if you have them. But not everybody has a cell phone. I don't, right? I don't have a cell phone. Do you notice the white of his eye? Much whiter here than over here. Do you notice that?
Time we've seen a hurdle, everyone joins together.
There's sleepy eye again. It's just my elbow rubbing across my desk. He looks stoned.
As a province or sectors or stakeholders, and we get through it. And I couldn't do it without people out there. I'll tell you, without the help of everyone in the province. And that's the only reason we're able to be doing as good as we're doing.
Last question.
Last question comes from Cynthia Mulligan from City News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Premier.
Hi, Cynthia.
Back to the report that Rob Ferguson from the Star mentioned that was critical of deaths in Canadian long-term care.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked about that very report this morning, and his response was, and I quote, "It's provincial jurisdiction. It's them who have failed our seniors." What do you say in response to that? Because it seems he's blaming the provinces.
Put your money where your mouth is. Help us out. We can't do it alone. Support us. He's been very supportive by.
Okay, people. I don't know what I'm going to do with this video. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'll work on my taxes today. I haven't done them yet. Then I'm going to go outside and work in the front for a bit. But before I do that, oh, what was I going to say? Okay. We have to keep in mind that we've got baby boomers coming into the system for the next 15 years. 15 to 20 years. We're talking large numbers of baby boomers. Okay? And they're going to demand the best of the best because they hold the most wealth. All right? They hold the most wealth because of the time era that they came in under. And they have more assets because of the time era that they came up in. Right? So, regardless of whether they have assets or not, the point is you're going to get hundreds of thousands of baby boomers coming in through the system that isn't prepared for it. Okay? Our healthcare system, right, in British Columbia, Canada, was already maxed out. It was maxed out in 2015, people. It's been maxed out forever. Okay? But that doesn't stop the baby boomers coming into the system. It doesn't matter if the hospital is functional or non-functional, right, in terms of being able to keep up with the demand. What matters is that the hospital is going to have an influx of baby boomers flooding the hospital system for the next 15 years. There's just not enough hospitals and care facilities and to meet that demand. That is a constant for 15 years. So it's like a pressure cooker, only there's no relief valve. So what they've done in a political sense in terms of putting the brakes on within the hospital system, redirecting certain money into other areas within the hospital, right? The healthcare portfolio. They are compensating for not adding in new cash fusions into the system to keep the system that they already have, as well as improve on that system as this influx of baby boomers are coming in. They don't want to do that. So, nobody can be surprised that we're experiencing a mass die-off with the elderly right now because there's just not enough spaces for the ones coming into the system. So this is kind of like a Band-Aid solution, a quick fix, right? You know what I mean? It just opens up beds. That's all it does, people. I'm telling you, as soon as one dies, another one moves in the next day. That's what they did with Joan. They turned off the water, right? They cleared out her room, and within 2 days, they said, well, the next day they told me to come pick up her stuff. I went the following day, people, and her shit was all packed up, ready to go, and somebody else was moving in. Okay? 2 days after her death, while the Duncan clan took her body, right? Because that's all they wanted was the body. And then plotted and schemed to destroy Uncle John's life in light of that she left him some inheritance money. And they didn't tell him about it, people. They didn't tell him about it until 14 months later after they fucking drugged him up, put him in a hammock, shipped him off over to Victoria so that he woke up in the emergency ward sicker than a dog, saying everything was all weird, and they kept it weird for him until he got permanent brain damage in light of their treatments, right, to steal his money. As I have it on recording that the nurse, okay, it's not about John's sister, it's the fact that the nurse told John, you can't see the kids, right? You can't see the kids because you're not better yet, John. You know that. They're saying, the nurses are saying the very exact same thing to hundreds of old people today as I speak, that they are not allowed to see their loved ones until they are better. And that these old people know this. And many are dying. But as fast as they're dying, people, Their beds are being filled up because the numbers of baby boomers going into the system is massive. They need those beds. But with death comes fringe benefits. They're not going to steal every old person's assets, but I can guarantee the public guardian and trustee has their fingers in the cookie jar, okay? They're only going to take 10% of the total assets as these old people are dying, and that 10% is to sustain their employment. They'll be running around accusing families of stealing Uncle Ralph's money, even though Uncle Ralph died a lonely and miserable death by himself around a bunch of fucking strangers, with some of those strangers being a Lucy. And whenever I say a Lucy, think of Dracula, okay? Because that's what's flying around in these hospitals. So, I don't know where that came from, other than, you know, they're just trying to mitigate the overflow of old people going into the system without having to add in billions of dollars to correct the system itself in terms of, one, get rid of the fraud, get rid of the criminal activity that goes on within the system so that the taxpayers will pay, and have paid for heinous crimes committed against innocent families, innocent individuals, right? So that the laundering of money can continue on in the halls of our healthcare systems, people, right? If they were to start cleaning up the criminal activity within our healthcare system, these premiers would save billions and billions and billions of dollars within the healthcare portfolios in terms of a ministry, that they could take that saving and build hospitals upon hospitals upon hospitals, and there wouldn't be an issue. But it's like Uncle John said, it's not just the fact that they have a portfolio, people. It's what's in, like, personal, right? These public union sector workers. Don't forget, Uncle John was a public union sector worker. He worked with many public union sector employees. He knew how to play the fucking game because he had been playing it for half of his life before he retired, okay? And he said, it's not the fact that they just have a portfolio. It's what's inside of the portfolio that matters. Because they're not just satisfied with one thing in terms of they're a government employee, they have their pension, and they have the choice to either keep their life insurance policy or get rid of it after the age of 65. Uncle John got rid of it. He saved the government, I don't know how much money superannuation life insurance policies are, because, you know, right, he got rid of it. So we'll just say $250,000. He saved himself, the government, $250,000 by not taking that life insurance policy, people, by canceling it at age 65. So the government of British Columbia, Canada, owes, literally, Uncle John $250,000 for justice, to get justice for Uncle John and his friends, in terms of old people finding themselves in that 10% category where they're being thoroughly 100% exploited by government workers, nurses, agencies, right? So that their assets can be pillaged as they're dying now en masse, mainly in care homes. That's not done by coincidence, people. That's by design. Okay? They're not closing down these beds as these old people are dying. They're moving in another person. And we still have to factor in that we've got some really ghoulish... I'm going to just upload this now, right? Because I don't like converting over hour-long videos. But, oh, what was I saying? Oh. Hold on. Okay, I sort of kind of remember now. So, they can save billions of dollars by cleaning the healthcare swamp. Okay? By having independent investigators go in, review past medical files and financial records, right? Like comparing what was charged in Ciera's medical file, right, in relation to the actual medical file itself. In other words, was the government charged for surgery, for a surgery that Ciera never got, right? Because Ciera needed surgery for a long time. But they made it so difficult in terms of actually giving her the surgery because they were too busy throwing her out of the hospital after they told her they were going to give her surgery. You seen her come here, take what, right? We were arguing about her not eating cream of wheat because, you know, they were scoping her and all this shit, getting ready for surgery, right? I've had her come here twice, people. Twice, she's told me. On 2 separate occasions. They've taken her across to, you know, another little medical center that's connected to the hospital, getting her ready for surgery, prepping her for surgery, and then coming in later and saying, here, put your clothes on. The surgery has been canceled. And then they just throw her out into the streets. Okay? How do we know that that surgery was really canceled? We don't. Because the only way we're going to find out is going into the medical records and the financial end of it, right? To see if the province, something that these people don't represent, okay? They represent their own portfolios and backroom deals with Bill Gates. Well, obviously, okay, it's becoming more apparent, right? But how do we know? I personally think somebody got that surgery. It just wasn't Ciera. Because we have a large immigrant population out here that's not covered for things, people. As we, in terms of healthcare, they have to pay when they go to the hospital. They have to pay when they go to the clinic if they don't have a healthcare card. So if they need surgery and they're sitting up in BC and these 85% workers that work in our hospitals that come from different countries, right, that see Ciera to be useless in terms of they work, she doesn't, right? They're educated, she's not, right? They're not going to bat an eye over fraud in terms of if their friend needs surgery that just came in from India but doesn't have a healthcare card, and they can use Ciera's healthcare card to get that surgery through, because nobody's fact-checking the charges to the government on that surgery through Ciera's health medical file numbers, right? Charges, that type of thing. Then, yeah, that's what's happening, people. That's why Ciera never got it. They were calling other people Ciera's name as they were telling Ciera to go away, to fool the people around them. I told you, there's a lot of skit writing, right? Hospitals are extremely dangerous places to be at because the majority of those people are not healthcare professionals. They're actors. They play a role for a pre-written script for a financial end to that script, right? What they did with Uncle John was all scripted in terms of he's confused. Today he's confused. Yesterday he wasn't. Tomorrow he'll be confused again. Then he wasn't confused when you weren't here, but now that you're here, he's confused again, right? So that a nurse, not his sister, but that a nurse could medically kidnap him and then tell him, you can't talk to the kids. You know that. You're not allowed to talk to the kids because you're not well yet. You know that. Well, now they're doing it to hundreds of people. Hundreds of Uncle Johns. And they're getting away with it. As they run fake live streams. Literally. Fake live streams with misinformation and false information, which is a breach of trust under the Criminal Code of Canada that is being perpetrated against our elected officials. A breach of trust. Okay? I don't know how I'm going to get that information out there, people, because obviously my, I don't really give a shit. I'm going to keep talking about it. Okay, I'm going to end it on this. Now, I am not targeting white people, but we are definitely dealing with institutional racism here, okay? Right? That exploits a immigrant working underclass to the institutional aspect around government, okay? I just want you to notice, yes, we were looking at his eyes, and I'm going to continue to do this because it's going to be interesting to see what we find. But anyway, just notice the shapes of these people's faces, okay? Just notice the shapes, right? Okay, just notice the shape. It's very jowled, right? Very jowled, right? This, right? He's more round. She's more round. These two have similar jowls. Just notice the shapes. Okay. Anyway, I've done video. I don't know if I'm going to upload them or not, people. I got to do more stuff, maybe. I don't know. I'll put it out there, get people thinking about it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. In the meantime, I have to, deal with food, okay? This is what I got yesterday, and this is what I got in the front today. There won't be very much in the back, but I'll scoop them up anyway. So I'm going to cook up all of this and some pineapple. And this time I'm going to do raspberry pineapple, right? And I am also going to dehydrate the seeds because I like grinding them up in the mortar. That seemed to work fine. So, I'll be back.
Global News.
Last question.
Hi, Dr. Henry, Minister Dick. Thanks for taking my question.
They're not coming back tomorrow.
Policy for temporary foreign workers differs than other jurisdictions, and we've seen success with that, with putting them immediately into quarantine. Today, the Agriculture Ministry released new rules for fruit pickers coming in from the rest of Canada, where they have to get a certificate of approval or show they've got COVID knowledge and present it to a farm before they get employment. Given that many of them are coming from provinces that have much higher COVID numbers than BC,
branding,
do you think that's enough to placate
with a
or allay
branding
some
iron,
of the concerns that may be in local communities?
Traveling papers?
Yeah, this is an issue that's been going on for some time. First I will say, yes, we have had, since we had one outbreak early on, as you will recall, in a nursery in the interior, we have put up all of the temporary foreign workers who've come in into
I think
hotels
this one is a legitimate
in the Lower Mainland, and made sure that they had what they need so they could successfully quarantine, and that has kept us in good stead. A number of the cases that we've had in the last few months, I think we're up to 28 people who have come in from the temporary foreign worker group who have tested positive for COVID-19 while in quarantine. So, those are potential outbreaks that could have happened on farms. Even the best of farms, the accommodation could be challenging to keep people safely quarantined. So it has been very effective.
Okay, people. I'm telling you, this is getting funkier and funkier. We were just watching this. The live just ended. Okay, there is the date. Do you see this? It's got 133 views. Right? You can see it right here. We're going to do this again, people. I was just watching it. You just seen a little bit of it. Here it is again. It's on my YouTube, page, right? In terms of, do you see? Right here. Live now.
Well, good afternoon. Over the past few months, every person in Ontario has been impacted.
Now we're going to go back into YouTube. We're going to go into history. There it is right there. It says 133 views. They're fucking with us, people. I'm telling you. Here it says 552 views watching live stream. Okay, that's on their provincial YouTube page. But when you go into this one, because the live is actually over now, look what happened. This is pre-recorded, people. They're going to delete it again. Right? It takes time to delete. Okay? Just like they deleted this one yesterday and then put it back up. Right? This will be gone in the next 15, 20 minutes. And it will say streamed 2 minutes ago. That's what it's going to do. So this was done a week ago, people. 1 week ago. Okay? This was not done today. They said that they're not doing anything tomorrow. But this particular video was done a week ago. Let's push on it and see what happens. Just hold on. Okay, let's go into this one. Hold on. Let's go into this one. Okay, this is my history. Where are we at? So the live is over. You see? The live is over. 140 views, even though there were 540 people watching it. The live stream was 57 minutes ago. It just stopped like 5 minutes ago. But it's still, I'm telling you, people, I didn't think that they would do this again. But they did. They did. Okay, so now here's the one that we were just watching that I pulled up through my history, which had 500 and some odd views. Now we're going to go back into their page. Right, you can see, go back into their videos. I'm going to put the rest of this stuff up that I was working on today. All conspiracy theory, okay? They haven't taken it down yet, but they will, because they have to get rid of this, people. So they have to take down this video, right, in order to put their other stream that they just ran through up. Okay? Just like they did with this guy over here. So this was done June 21st. Let's see. A week ago. Well, yeah, exactly, people. They did their that live for June 22nd on the 19th. So they did this live for June 25th either on the 18th or they did it on the 19th after they changed their clothes. And based on that, whatever statistic that they came out today was pre-written. Okay? It's falsified information. It's not real. Let's click this on. Okay? You can see It's clearly the one that they did a week ago, although the computer hasn't caught up to it yet. Okay, this is not a computer glitch. Right? Same.
Still.
Right? Wearing
in terms
same
of
clothes.
Negotiating those things, that is something
debate within the medical community about the best.
And she's going to get all whatever.
This is for Dr. Henry. With more allowance for people to meet other people.
Oh, yeah. Here's she getting all.
Last question today.
All blushy.
For any reporters that didn't get.
So it depends if you're.
Focus on public.
I don't know. I think
allowance for people to meet other people, preferably at a distance.
The morality police.
For those who are not in relationships.
Right.
Those who want to bridge the
morality
distance,
police.
shall we say. How do they go safely about getting
have your certificate on you if you want to go to work?
Too much distance. How do they make decisions on this?
Oh dear, these are the kissing questions again.
A doctor who has no patience.
I don't know.
Doing a Dear Abby.
I think there's lots of things that we need to take into meet outside.
Okay, so let's go back into there. Okay. See? Didn't I tell you? It's gone now, people. They have to take it down and correct this information. Right? They do it through HTML. Right? Behind the scenes. Now, within another 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's going to come back and it's not going to say a week ago. It's not going to say that, people. So this video that they uploaded today saying was today is not today. It was done either on the 18th or the 19th. Okay? But they just unlisted it and made it public and re-streamed it through a live that connected with all the news outlets that are in partnership with this illusion. Right? And all these people are committing fraud, people. This is fraud. This is breach of trust, right? This is fraud. This is fraud, false pretense, and a whole lot of other things. See? They took it out. It will come back. You watch and see. And it's going to have new stuff. We'll give it a few minutes. Let's see how long it takes. It's 4 o'clock now. Hold on. Okay, so it's only 2 minutes after 4. Here it is, right here. You can see it. June 25th. It says streamed 11 minutes ago. Let's click it on.
The kissing questions again.
There's the kissing questions again. Right? Here it says 65. We just went through this with my last video. Right? You can see what's happened here. But if I go into their website, it won't be there, which is a bunch of crock. They haven't posted it yet, people, because they're correcting numbers. They're correcting the date. They don't want you to come in, see the live, and see that it was over a week ago. They don't want you to see that, people. So they took it down. There's that one. Right? They took it down so they can adjust it from the inside. It will come back because they're promoting that political agenda. Right? Remember, this one said 14 hours ago until they took down the video and then readjusted everything. Like, this is serious, people.
people, preferably at a distance, in phase 3. For those who
Still not up. Because they're still making corrections, people. Okay, so now it's 4:35, but I did go to the store, but voila. Why are we not surprised, people? Do you see this? So that thing that they supposedly did today? No, people, it was done a week ago. It was done a week ago. Okay? It wasn't done 34 minutes ago. It was done a week ago. They re-streamed it. Okay? They re-streamed it so that they could hook it up with their news. So the news people, they're involved with this, people. This is fraud, what they're doing. This is false pretense. This is a breach of trust. And I'm sure there's a few other things under the Criminal Code of Canada that this would apply to, because with their supposedly live stream that was done supposedly today, but it wasn't, people. It was done last week. I just showed you. I explained to you on my previous video basically how they're doing it. They came out citing fake numbers. They cited fake statistics again today. That's 3 days in a row. Well, the 22nd, yesterday with John Horgan, and then today with their week ago live stream that was put on private or unlisted or whatever, right, until they were ready to hook it up to the news outlets that run that supposedly stream, supposedly live, but it's not. It was cued in. And that's why they took it down, that 1 week ago one, and then readjusted it, clipped, did whatever, and then, you know, unlisted it and made it public again. So, in light of that, people, and the other thing I'm noticing too, since I've done this, you know, it's not that I haven't noticed it before, but my channel is like frozen. So we know that what they did today wasn't done today. They lied. They gave out false information with false statistics, because this was done a week ago and they wouldn't know what would have happened up until this point, right? There's no way they could have predicted that. They don't have magical crystal balls outside of somebody that writes a script, okay? And then they corrected it. They had to, right? Because they got to keep the live stream up to make themselves look like they're on the ball. But when you go into my channel, into my videos, what you're going to see is they're barely moving. Barely moving, people. Okay? Barely moving. Now, I will put this little thing first. Okay? And then I'm just going to put the rest of the stuff as I did it. I was debating whether I should, because I'm looking into the eyes of some of these people, because I don't believe that they're necessarily all there in terms of being a human being. Okay? This is like, this is worse than crime of the century to what they're doing. And then to justify, as they're lying, people, like they are literally lying. a week in advance with fabricated numbers as they're locking up people into isolation without being held to account as to what's happening to those individuals. Anything could be happening to these people. And there's, like, the ones that are being locked up, that is. And there's no one there to witness it. Because these things that lie through their teeth a week in advance with fake numbers, with shifty, shady shit going on with a public fucking YouTube channel. The province of British Columbia, Canada, doesn't belong, in terms of the YouTube channel, doesn't belong to Adrian Dix, all those news reporters, and Dr. Henry Bonney. No, it's supposed to be for the public. But how can the public... Well, you see, that's the thing, though. The public doesn't know what they're doing, people. Because the public just clicks on the live stream wherever, on C-SPAN, on Global News, on CTV, or maybe on the provincial website, and they just take it for face value without doing what I've done, which, honestly, it just came about by accident. It wasn't like I was looking to catch them in the act of committing fraud. But I did, people. And they did it again. And that live stream that they put out there today with fake numbers was done a week ago. You seen it. As they insist that they have the right to keep old people locked up like their dirty secret as they die or disappear. Like, do we even know if Ciera's body is really in that casket, people? The way those people were carrying on at the freaking cemetery? Don't touch the casket. You might get contaminated with COVID-19. No, you can't throw dirt on the casket. We don't want the dirt people getting contaminated with COVID-19. We're the ones with the children, and they're accusing us of being contaminated with COVID-19 as they deny us a proper burial in terms of people coming and, you know, and gathering and doing what people do at grave sites when somebody's being buried. You know, we were only allowed 10 people. You seen who was there. Half of them were kids. And we're the ones that are contaminating the dirt with COVID-19. As we've got our politicians and a doctor who has no patience getting up on a public YouTube channel, right? Lying through their teeth with fake numbers, fake deaths, fake statistics a week in advance before it's even streamed a second time. And they've been doing it repetitively. The 22nd, the 24th, and today, the 25th. And they're shadow banning my channel. Okay, people. I don't know what I'm looking at, but do you see that? I'm trying to make this clear without picking up the pixels on the screen. This is Doug Ford's eyes. Okay. I'm just zooming in on him right now. I mean, you can clearly see that. I don't know how that looks like any sort of pupil. I don't. I don't, people. I don't. Now, mind you, I'll show you the picture that I got it from. I'm still zooming in, but do you see this? Where am I? Zoom in. And let's do it again. I'll show you. We'll open up a new one. Just hold on. There it is right there. Just something I did paint on. I need to do new. Hold on a minute.